Dear students, today in this video I am going to discuss about the concept of balance of payment. First of all, let's have a look at meaning of balance of payment. So an accounting statement showing the value of imports and exports of tangible and intangible goods during a year. That means in a balance of payment, the value of import as well as exports of goods and services made by a country during an entire year is recorded. Balance of payments has a credit entry and a debit entry because it is an accounting statement. So here also there is a credit entry and there is a debit entry. All receipts are recorded in the credit entry and all payments are recorded in the debit entry. That means whatever receipts are made by a home country, say for example India. So whatever receipts is being made by India, all those receipts are recorded on credit side. And similarly, whatever payments are made by India to any other foreign country is recorded on the debit side. Now, talking about types of balance of payments. So, as you can see in the chart, balance of payments can be of two types. Either it may be a balanced balance of payment or it can be an unbalanced balance of payments. Balance of payments is said to be in balance when the values of entries on credit side equals that on the debit side. That means when both credit as well as debit side are equal. At that time we may say that a balance of payment is balanced. Similarly, balance of payments is unbalanced when the value of entries on the credit side is not equal to entries on the debit side. Definitely, unbalanced balance of payment means when both credit and debit sides are not equal. At that time, it is said to be an unbalanced balance of payment. Now, further, in unbalanced balance of payment also, there are two types, that is a deficit as well as a surplus balance of payment. So first of all, if payments are more than receipts, that means when the value of credit side entries is less than the value of debit side entries, there is a deficit in balance of payments. Now next one is surplus balance of payments. So the reverse of deficit, that means if receipts are more than payments, or we may say that when the value of credit side entries is greater than the value of debit side entries, then there is a surplus in balance of payments. Now talking about accounts of balance of payments. So balance of payments has two accounts, current account and capital account. First of all, talking about current account. So current account records the credit and debit entry for the following. As you can see that first one is trade in merchandise goods and second one is trade in invisibles, what is also known to be services. So trade in merchandise goods, that means tangible goods, what is also known to be goods, physical goods. So whatever receipts from exports is recorded as credit entry and whatever payments are made for imports are recorded as debit entry. And the sum total on this section of current account is said to be balance of trade, because here trade is made only in physical goods and therefore it is said to be balance of trade. And just like unbalanced balance of payment, here also if the payments for merchandise imports are greater than the receipts from these merchandise exports, then there is a deficit in balance of trade, and the vice versa situation is said to be surplus on the balance of trade. Similarly, trade in invisibles, what is also known to be services. So whatever income is received from services are recorded on credit side, and similarly whatever payments is made for services is recorded on debit side. And the combined balance of both, that means trade in merchandise goods or tangible goods as well as trade in services, is said to be current account balance. Talking about capital account, so this account records receipts and payments from transactions on assets, and the total of both, that is current account and capital account, is said to be balance of payments. Now talking about factors influencing balance of payments. So factors influencing balance of payment means those factors which affect the imports, exports, movement of capital, movement of factors of production, investment, lending, etc. Deficit or surplus in the balance of payments can arise owing to such factors. Now some of these factors are stated over here. First one is exchange rate. Second one is price of tradable goods in home country and in foreign countries. Third one is variety and quality of tradable goods. Fourth one is inevitable imports. Fifth one is level of economic development of the country. Sixth one is legal restrictions on trade. And last one is trade supporting facilities and infrastructures like transport, communication, etc. Now next topic is exchange rate. First of all, what is exchange rate? So exchange rate is the price of a foreign currency in terms of domestic currency. That means, in other words, we may say it is the units of home currency required to buy 1 unit of a foreign currency. Say for example, exchange rate of $1 is equals to 60 rupees. It means that in order to buy $1, a price of rupees 60 must be paid. So if we want to buy $1, we have to pay 60 Indian rupees. Sometimes exchange rate change owing to open market forces, and sometimes government of a country may alter the exchange rate to impact imports and exports. As we have already seen earlier that it is the responsibility of the Reserve Bank of India to maintain the value of our currency, and it does so by doing or by indulging in open market operations. Therefore, it is said that exchange rate may change due to these open market forces, or it may happen due to interference of the government. Now, if the exchange rate rises for India and the value of rupee falls, the demand for imports by India tends to decline and India's exports tend to rise. Say for example, when price of $1 rises from rupees 60 to say 65 rupees. That means now an Indian importer has to pay 65 rupees instead of earlier 60 rupees to import a commodity worth $1, $1. So because now import becomes expensive and hence imports tend to fall. While earlier by spending $1, a foreign trader could purchase goods worth rupees 60 earlier, while now he can buy goods worth rupees 65 by spending that same $1. That means for that foreigner or for that foreign trader, now import would become cheaper. That means here exports from India would tend to rise because our exports would become cheaper. Instead of earlier supplying goods worth rupees 60, now we are supposed to supply goods worth rupees 65 for that same $1, and therefore our exports would tend to rise. Similarly, the reverse happens when exchange rate for India falls. So with this, I complete this topic as well as this chapter. Thank you, students.